Hello all, Shadwell here, ready to talk about the next film in my collection, Final Destination 2 from 2003. It's directed by David R. Ellis and stars AJ Cook and Ali Larter. Just in case you were curious, I'm writing this review on January 1st, 2025, although it should also be stated the previous review was the first review I wrote of 2025. But I didn't have space to mention it like I do this time around. This is an okay sequel, but it doesn't really need to exist. In fact, the only reason the other Final Destination movies exist is to make more and more outlandish deaths. And there are some good ones in this film, in particular the plate of glass squishing someone is extra nasty, the elevator decapitation is a tense sequence, and the premonition that kicks off the movie where the log flies through the state trooper's car and exits through the back windshield with a liberal couple of splashes of blood. The gore in this film is definitely a step above the first film, but it doesn't really do anything to reinvent the wheel that the first Final Destination invented. Death is an unseen killer of a group of people who thought they got the better of death when they escaped an interstate pileup that was supposed to claim their lives. But death wants everything balanced, and so death is out to kill them all in particularly nasty ways. Back is Clear as well, who has checked herself into a padded cell since the events of the first film in order to protect herself. Does she survive Final Destination 2? Well, seeing how the tagline is "you can't cheat death twice," you can take a wild guess as to what happens. Actually, this film has a bunch of taglines. Here are a couple examples. It's not over yet, death may be closer than it appears, and my favorite, even death gets a sequel. But the movie overall suffers from being more of the same in the plot department. Sure, they try to spice it up by having death work backwards this time, and they explain why later on in the film in a large exposition dump car ride. But in the end, it's still death balancing the scales and finding elaborate ways to kill off those that thought they escaped death's clutches. That's not to say that Final Destination 2 is bad, it's not, but it doesn't bring anything new to the table. And speaking of table, the last scene of the film. Why the fuck did that family invite those two to their farm to eat a meal? What's the connection other than, oh, one time you crashed a car on my farm? It was a really weird final scene. I'm going to give Final Destination 2 a perfectly average grade of C because it is so middle of the road. Tomorrow we go further back in my collection to cover a film I just added to my collection. American Fiction is tomorrow. Start squirming now. See y'all then.